All right. Hey, good evening. This is welcome to KVIC News, where we have the hottest news, the hottest topics, and the hottest host. Amen. Awesome. Hey, what y'all having? I thought we'd have a little fun when we get started. This is Vic Merritt, Carthage, Texas, and you got to know that God is a fun God. He is. He's a fun God. He's not the mean guy that some people make him out to be. So I just want to have a little fun because I've got a topic today that's pretty serious and gonna get a little maybe mushy and teary eyed, but it's gonna be all right. But today I'd like to talk about um, loss and grief and change and growing. You know, like so we're gonna go through a lot. I got some notes. I just want to try to do it right and get everything, you know, where everybody can get something from this. The goal of this is to get something out there that if you're going through the same thing I am, or fixing to, or have, or that you could be encouraged by this. Now I'm gonna have some supportive scriptures today. Um, one is Joel 2:25, Habakkuk 2:3, Romans 8:2-8, and James 1:2, Proverbs 18:22, and Matthew 7:6, and Mark 6:4. So I'm not going to read them right now, but I want you to know that there are some supportive scriptures that I'm going to go through today. But the main topic today is I want to go through an adventure or a journey I had this year. And in February of this year, this is 2023. This is in December right now. My wife left me, and she hadn't been back. But she left me, and it was like a super shock. It was like when it finally sunk in. And we had problems. We had normal problems, but I didn't think it was enough that she would leave and leave for good. But she did. I mean, she did. She did. And I was floored. I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, a lot of you probably been in that same boat. I mean, uh, what am I going to do without her? We got married in '85. That's a long time to be together. And I cried and I begged her to come home. And you know, I did everything I thought I could do, but she said, no, I'm not open to reconciliation. And so I was like floored. I was like lost. I said, I didn't know what to do. You know how it is when it's almost like she died, but she didn't die. So I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Man, I could hardly go to work. And when I was at work, I wasn't really. I was only partially there, and they could tell it. And I lost a lot of weight. I was like, I don't think I've been this devastated before. I really don't think I have. I don't think I've been to that point where I was in this place before in my life. And I'm 67 years old, so it's been a long time that I've been living. But she went to live with a friend of hers in San Antonio, which is a long way from here. There ain't gonna be going to see somebody, if you really wanted to quickly. And I was left here in the house, and and she just took like her clothes because she's staying in a room, So everything here is just the same as it was when she was living here. And when you miss somebody and you love them and they're not here, and it's like I said, it's the same as if they've deceased because I don't want I don't want any I don't want to reconcile. I want out. And so I'm looking around here and everything I'm in the living room, but everything in the living room, the kitchen, the dining room, the back outside. She did all this. She decorated all this. There's a couple of buildings out back. She decorated them. She decorated and painted the outside. I was the grunt, but everything here reminds me of her. And so you can imagine how that was and is. When your wife leaves you, I'm just like it was just awful. And it was hard to handle. And a lot of no sleep. A lot of didn't want to eat. I could get a meal and I would just pick at it, throw it away. I just couldn't. I couldn't eat, man, no sleep, nothing, So I got a counselor, eventually. I don't know how many months or I don't know how long it was, but I got a counselor and go to the counselor once a week, 45 minutes once a week. And, but how much can that help when you're here alone 90%, 98% of the time? And, um, it's hard to lose someone and then get over them quick, or maybe I didn't even feel like I could get over them at all, and get over her at all. It was like a rough deal, and I know it's for you. I'm saying this because this is my journey, this is my experience, but uh, how many of y'all are going through the same thing, or went through it, or or are in it? You know, I'm it's kind of too late for my marriage. We've been separated all year, and she filed for divorce in January. It'll probably be final, and there's really nothing I can do about it. But for you, you may be still in your marriage. You may still be where you can make a difference right now. That's what I'm trying to. My goal is to get you guys. If you're the guy, the one that's messing up, or the wife, whatever, but I think it's usually the guy. But get you to where you got a mindset of, hey, wake up. It's something you need to do something now before you get to where I am. Now it's not over when you get to where I am. Life's not over. It's not the end of the road. God's got great plans for everybody, but it would be a lot better if you salvage your marriage. But either way, whether you're where I am or where you're before where I am, I'm trying to get something out there so I can get through to you. But I didn't get through to me when it was before me. When I had all kinds of hints. And so, but all this time, all my life, I thought I was solid. I thought I was man. I thought I was independent. I didn't need anybody. I didn't need friends. Just my wife. I didn't have any friends. I just kind of get away with my friends, and I just thought my wife was my friend. I didn't need anybody else. And what I didn't realize, and my wife tried to keep telling me all these years, but I was living in a box, a little bitty box. Ever since I was a child growing up, I was living in a box, and I didn't want to get out of that box. I wanted to stay in this box, and I wanted to run like a little rat or a mouse in his little cage where he just runs and runs and runs like a treadmill, but he don't go anywhere. That's where I was, and all my life, 66 years until February when my wife left. But I realized it. But this is where I've been, and if you're here, if you're in a box, you need to get out of that box. And the point of this video is to get you somewhere where you're not where I am. You're somewhere hopefully before me, and or if you are, but to help you realize, hey, it's not over if you are. But let's move on. But I was in a box, and I didn't need any friends. I thought I didn't need any friends. I soon realized that this is weird. But as long as she was here, she didn't have to be outside with me. She didn't have to be where I was physically in the same quadrant area. But as long as she was married to me and she was in the house and she wasn't going to leave me forever, and I was okay. I mean, she was my backbone, but I didn't realize it. And it was like my backbone was her, and I was tied to her. And that's a weird way to be. That's some way you don't want to be. You don't want to be like that because you don't have any independence in and of yourself. And so. Really, I could tackle any obstacle as long as I knew she was with me. I could work on something that was difficult. I could try to solve a puzzle, a problem that was pretty rough, but I could do it, and I had the confidence to believe that I could overcome it. But it was all because I had her as my backbone, and that is not good. You should. Um, And every time I tried to do anything that after she left, after she said, I'm not coming back, so anything I tried to do after that, immediately fear rose up in me. Fear rose up in me. Something common that I could do that in the past that I'd be fearful of changing the oil in my truck because I figured I might screw it up. I wasn't confident. I lost all my confidence because my confidence was in her, and she was my backbone. And it was awful. And it was not right. And I don't know how many of you men are out there that's like that. But if you're like that, you need to get rid of it. You need to get rid of this box. You need to realize first you're in a box, and then you need to take the steps to get out of it. But I was tied to my wife in that way, which was not right. Now, you should cherish your wife. You should love your wife. You should respect your wife, but you should not be dependent on her for you to be a man. And I was. I mean, that's what I was. Um, and so I knew, I realized. And so I started studying, um, on YouTube. I studied marriage helpers. I studied husband helpers, husband help haven. Jeffrey Satch's one. He's a relationship coach and he's really good. And then I started studying all these. I mean, because I needed to know what to do to get what to get. How can I fix this? And I also started studying Stoic philosophy, Stoic philosophy. These are a group of guys. They look like when they represent them on the internet, they're like Greek gods or goddesses, and they're all muscular and they're all cool. But they have a couple of prime directives that they use, and one of them is that accept. You need to accept anything you can't change or control. Accept that you can't control it. Accept that you can't change it, and go on. Just accept it. You have to accept what you can't change. I can't change my wife's mind. I can't change her where she lives. I can't change who she hangs out with. I can't change where she goes. I can't change the weather. I can't change my uncle. I can't change my aunt. I can't change the traffic situation. There's a whole lot of stuff that we can't change, but the Stoics say accept what you can't change and act on or focus on what you can change. Which, you know what you can change? Just everything just about you. Your little bubble, you can change and control you, but that's about it. And your actions, your reactions, your emotions, your decisions, what you do and what you don't do, what you choose, you can do you can control that, but that's about all you can control. And they also have one more prime directive. They got a lot of things they teach, but one of the main things they teach is what I just told you. And when you come upon an obstacle, a trial, a bump, a valley where I've been since February, and I'm still in it. But when you come across an obstacle, don't look at it as the end of the world, like it's something terrible that you're never going to get through. Look at it as an opportunity for growth. Look at it as an opportunity for growth. And what can I learn from this? That's what so don't, if you change your mindset to where, hey, whenever I get a bump, whenever I get something that comes up against me, that I look at it as an opportunity for growth, then it's a lot better to take that than to just wallow in a pool of self-pity and be Eeyore and, oh, I'm never going to make it out of this. That's them. So they practice, and they tell you to practice mindset change. And so does the marriage helpers and Jeffrey and the relationship coaches, and they all teach the same thing. So it's not just one place uh, telling you how to do this, accept what you can't change. Because what happens is when she first left, I was trying everything desperately to control and change what she was doing and how she was thinking. Well, you know what? It didn't work, and it ain't never going to work, because the only thing you can change is you. You have to just focus on you and what you can do, and then how you face problems. And so that's what I tried to do. Now, that was a lot of crying, a lot of tears, and a lot of all that. But at least I had some good direction to go in. And they both said that you must untether. If you're like I was, tied to your wife's back, she was my backbone. You must untether from her. You must not. You have to get separated in your mindset and become your own person. Become the man that you were supposed to be all these years. You're supposed to be a solid man who is independent, who is confident, who has self-esteem, who in the Stoics say your life is run by virtue and honesty and integrity and doing the right thing and trying to help people. And you do all that, and you instill that in you, and you do it as you. And the only person you have to have peace and joy is you. Your peace and joy comes from inside you and God, not dependent on, now you need a wife, you need kids, you need friends, you need all that as far as to be a whole person, but you don't need it to be function. You should be able to function even if you don't have all of those things right now. Now, yes, that is they're all about emotions, and the Stoics, and you and love and companionship and wives and all that's good. But I was screwed up. I was in the wrong place, and I was trying to get to where I need to be. I know now the direction I need to go, or I did then, and focus on me without any outside dependency. And And so, and you can get that if you just focus on you and without any outside influence, get to where you need to be and solidify yourself. And so I knew that I had to change and grow, and I had to be the real man that I should have been long time ago, at least when I got to be 18 or 20. But so I knew I had to do that. Now here's what's rough. I met my wife in 1983. We got married in 1985. So I haven't been alone since 1983. I haven't been alone. I've always had her, and we had my kids, and so I'm all of a sudden February 2nd, I'm alone, and then and I'm not, and she's not coming back, and I got this big old house, and it feels like it's 90,000 square feet, and it's just me, and so I knew I had a lot of work to do, and I firmly believe that the way things went down after she left, and I was isolated. I think God has put me here in solitude so that I can grow. And so that I didn't have much contact. I purposely, out of my fault, I didn't have any friends that I kept in contact with. And it worked just slightly, like relationships, but not much. And, and so I believe God put me in solitude so I could grow. And like I said, I didn't have any friends. I didn't make any friends. I mean, the friends that we had was the mutual friends that we had together. And most of them was her family, her cousins and sisters and brothers and all that stuff, and their spouses. And so I didn't think I needed any friends of my own. I mean, I thought I was good. I thought I was solid, man, but I wasn't. I was messed up. And you know what? I've been messed up since childhood. I mean, I have been so messed up, but I didn't realize I was messed up. And I was running on what's called a paradigm. A paradigm is a list of instructions that, like a computer program, but when you're a child and you start growing up, the things around you, your parents and the people around you, the way you're taught, the way you process, you start getting a program on how you do things, how you look at life, how you make decisions, how you process, and what you think and what you don't think, and your opinions, and you get programmed, and it's like firmware. It's like for me, there was no reprogramming. I was just going to run in this program, and I'm going to be in this box, and that's the way it was. And but it was bad. I've been messed up since childhood, and what's bad is I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to love, and I didn't really know how to love, and I didn't know how to receive love. I didn't know how to give love. I didn't know how to receive love. I just had a like a magazine picture of it, but I didn't know what it was really about. And I thought I was good. I thought I'm okay. Let me stop and tell you this. I'm a Merritt. Last name is Merritt, and the Merritts have the Merritt tribe is messed up. All of them's messed up, and they have this is what they believe. I know everything, and I've never been wrong. I know everything, and I've never been wrong. Could you imagine growing up like that? You're not moldable. You're not teachable. Well, that's where I come from. So I'm not there now, but that's where I came from. So if you know somebody like that, if you're like that, get rid of that. I mean, just get rid of it, because you don't know everything, and you are wrong a lot, or some. You're never always right, never. And you know what? The third thing the Merritts don't do, they don't apologize. They don't ever apologize if they're wrong, and that's the way I was. And man, I apologize 100 times I have to now, because I'll cry. I used to cry, so I'm in a different place now, but I wasn't then. But I thought I was good. And about 8 or 9 days after my wife left, she left on the 2nd of February, and then I was talking to her, then I hung up, and then God just came all over me, and he stripped me of my of the blinders and the whatever was all over me, the scales, where once he did that, and I'm sitting there grieving, and I was crying. I said, God, what's going on? How am I going to get through this? Well, he took the scales off my mind and my heart. I mean, he took me down where I could see all the things that I had done and not done, or should have done, but I didn't do. I could see all of that. I could see the loved ones that I had messed with, that I had hurt them, and the pain. I'm talking about verbal, emotional, lack of. I could see I could see a lot of the scenes play in my head, and my heart was there, and I could see them, the hurt in their eyes. I could see the hurt in Ricky and Tucker's eyes. I could see the hurt in Denise's eyes, and I could see a few scenes of my parents or my brother and sister or friends or somebody, relatives that I really had not done right. I could see into their hearts, and I could see what I had done, and I could see the way, um, and I could see into my heart, and I could see the way my heart really was. And that's painful when you see with your own heart, your old rotten heart, kind of like the Grinch. But I could see the way it really was, and I could, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, how could I have done that? How could I have done that? How could I have not stepped up there? How could I have not consoled my wife when she was laying on the couch crying and said she thought she was going to die, and emotionally dying and physically dying at the same time? She was going to 2023 was a rough year for her, and I didn't help her much. And so, how could I not grab her up and hold her and say, "It's gonna be all right, baby. It's gonna be all right"? How could I not do that? How could I just say something like, "What's wrong with you? I'm good." How could I do something like that? And I'm sitting there, and I was just horrified at my own actions. And this is not just a one-time incident. This is, remember, I'm living in a box, and I'm running on a paradigm, and my paradigm is cold and not. Now I had some moments. I had some moments when I was human, and my wife can attest to that, and my kids, but they can say that if they're willing to talk. But how could I have done all that? How could I do that? How could I do that? And so God allowed me through tripping all this stuff off of me to see the truth about me, how I was, how I acted, how I processed stuff, and I don't even know how I processed stuff. It wasn't right. I was so messed up that what I was programmed in as a kid, and it was not good, and it just transferred into my adulthood and my life, and I was still running on that same terrible path at 66 years old, and I was still hurting people, and I still wasn't loving people like I should, and I wasn't receiving love. I didn't even know how to love. My heart was not there, and so. But when I sitting there thinking to myself, I said, why did it take my wife leaving me permanently, where I knew she's not coming back? And my backbone left, my confidence left, my self-esteem left, the manliness of me left, because it was all through her, And I said, why did it take that long? Why did it take that to be able for me to be able to wake up, to be able to change? And I'm reminded of a song that came back a while years ago. I think it was by a black guy named Abachi or something like that. And it was some of the lyrics said, "Wake me up when it's all over. I didn't know that I was lost. Wake me up. I didn't know that I was lost. I didn't know that I was lost." And I always thought this meant that it was for my oldest son, which he left home at 18, and just we just kind of, it was a bad deal, and he was like, we didn't speak to us for years, and no connection, and it was a bad deal. And I always thought that maybe it applied to him, to maybe he would get a revelation and say, I just want to, no matter what happened, I want to wake up from this, and I want to reconcile with my parents. But now I believe that the song wasn't for Ricky; it was for me. It was hitting home with me, because I was not awake. I was not awake. I was, wake me up when this is all over. I didn't know that I was lost. How many of y'all are lost and you don't know it? I mean, how many of people are walking in my shoes that you're doing some terrible stuff, and you're not treating your family right, and you're not treating your wife right, or your kids right, or your mom right, or your dad right, or your brother, your sister, your aunt, whoever. You're not treating people at work right. You're not treating your neighbors right. How many of people are y'all all asleep like I was? It's time to wake up. And anyway, I was sitting there pondering, why did it take my wife leaving me permanently to wake me up? And I don't know the answer to that. All I know is I'm awake now. I'm awake now. I'm aware. I can sense people's pain now too. Not just. I can just sense it, especially if I'm around somebody in a close proximity. I can sense that they're hurting, and I couldn't do that before. I mean, I'd be oblivious to it. I just wasn't. I just wasn't. I couldn't do it. But before this, I couldn't sense much at all. I mean, a little bit, but not much. I mean, it was kind of like I'm the dumb. How come you can't? What did I do that? So anyway, but now I can, and so here I am. I've done kind of went through some training, went through some teaching, got the scale stripped off of me. My heart's a little, I'm in a little better place. But I'm realizing that I didn't treat my wife right. I didn't treat my sons right. I didn't treat my family right. I probably didn't treat a lot of people right. And I didn't even realize that I was not treating them right. And so I'm a mess and I see it and I realize it. How many of you are a mess but you don't see it? You need to realize you're a mess now. Maybe you can realize you're a mess while you're still in your marriage. Maybe you can realize you're a mess while you still have a wife, while you still have a husband, while you still have kids. Maybe you're not way out like I am. Kids are gone and grown up and messed up. My paradigm messed up their paradigm. You know what I mean? And so, how many of you guys are a mess and you don't see it and you don't wake me up when it's all over? I didn't know that I was lost. Well, you need to wake up now. And so I go, what do I do? I mean, what do I do? I've been crying out to God since day one. You're in a rough place. Your wife left. You're alone. You feel loneliness. You feel fear. You feel anxiety. You feel worry. You don't know how you're going to make it all by yourself. I haven't been alone since '83 when I met my wife. I haven't been alone. I mean, how do you get past that? And my wife always said, one of her prime directives was, she said, it doesn't matter what about the mistakes you make. What matters is what you do about them. I approached her in one of the talks. We talked all the time on the phone. She was gone, but I said, you always said that. How come you want to allow me to try to make this up? She said, it was too many mistakes. It was for too many years, and you kept doing the same thing. And I just got to a point where that it was over and over and over and over. There was too many mistakes, and at some point, it's just too late. I died emotionally to you. It was just to the point where I had to stop, and I just died. That's what she phrased it. I just died, and she said, you put me in the coffin, and you nailed the lid shut, with all the over and over and over and over, where I didn't cherish her, I didn't treat her right, and what I've already been through. It was me, not her. She left because she had a reason to leave. I want you guys to understand that if you're a spouse and you left and you had a reason to leave, I salute you, because she had the balls to leave, and I didn't. And I put her in that position. I put her in this position because she tried to change me, to get me out of my box, to get me to do something that I wouldn't do, that I should do, and I wouldn't do it. And so she did the do. I just didn't receive it. And so she confronted me, said, yeah, what I used to say is true, but not if you made 10,000, you did it 10,000 times. It's a little too much and it's a little too late. And so I had to accept that. And so here I am. I really don't have anybody to talk to. Like I said, I didn't make any friends, and I didn't think I needed any. And but I have a sister. But remember this paradigm I said, is living in a box. And there was three of us, me and my brother and my sister. And we in the household we lived in, you wouldn't. I'm just telling you this straight out. My mom and my dad both passed away, but they were not mentors. They were not people you would look up to. They loved you in a sort of kind of way, but there was no love. And so I got messed up to a certain percentage in a certain way. My brother did too, but my sister really got messed up to a point where she is really messed up still. And she's younger than me, but she's not at a place where she can be support. So I love my sister, and I pray for her all the time. And me and my wife have tried to help her, but right now she just couldn't support me. So I really had nobody, and to really console in except my counselor, and then talking to my wife some. It's kind of odd, but she's one of the few people I can confide in, even in the fact that we're separated. And I know that's weird, but that's the most comfort I've got from talking to anybody except my counselor. No family. I couldn't talk to them. Um, the family that we did have, or the friends and family we had, was on her side of the family, and they had cut me off because they didn't want to be a conflict of interest because they wanted to support Denise and whatever she was doing, but it would be kind of a conflict of interest to try to support me. So none of them would talk to me, and so I couldn't talk to them. So that's my fault. That's my fault. And so anyway, I was kind of cut off. And but here's what I want to say, and I'm going to say it over and over again probably. But if my wife had not left me, guys, if you're listening, I would not have changed. If my wife had not left me, I would not have changed. I'd still be in this little bitty box. I'd still be running this little program that's running me in the ground. And the rest of my life from 60, I'm 67 now, but on into the ground. And this is where I would still be. I would have never changed. The scales would not have come off my eyes. God would have, He just used this because I pushed it to the breaking point. And so, but kudos to you, Denise. If you hadn't left me, I would never have changed. And that breaks my heart to know that it had to come to that. But what am I going to do? I'm going to go forward now. I can't go backwards. The Stoics say never go back to the past. The past is dead. You can't change it. And don't go way out in the future. You don't know what the future holds. The Stoics say just to live in the present day. And so does the marriage helpers. They all agree with this. You live to live. You need to live right now, today, because God gave you this day, today. You're not promised tomorrow, and you can't go back. You can't go back and do anything from your history. So right now is what matters. So I'm in solitude. I believe God has put me in solitude or isolation, whatever you want to call it. He has separated me from the world so that I can grow, so that I can get solid. Because the only way to get somebody that's hinged to somebody else is to separate from them. And then I didn't need to have human contact for a long time because God needs to get me used to depending on Him and me. Not religiously, but Him and me, relationship. I need to depend on God. You need to depend on God. You don't need to depend on your spouse to be a whole person. You need to depend on you and God. And so He put me in solitude, I believe. And I also believe that He hardened the hearts of anybody that I did. I tried to call some people and talk to them that was relatives that was on my wife's side, but I didn't get anywhere. I couldn't. It didn't work. And I believe God set that up so that I would be just with me in solitude, so that I could grow and change and become more toward the man I should have been a long time ago. And that's been hard. I mean, I haven't been alone since '83. So I was alone. And this place is big when there's nobody here but you. You can cry on the carpet all night, but what good does it do? You're still alone. But at some point, I studied a whole lot. All I watch all day long is teaching, teaching, God teaching, God teaching, God teaching. At first, I did a lot of marriage helper teaching and God teaching. Then I went more toward God teaching, and then Stoic philosophy, and then other uplifting, motivational things. And so I've had a lot of information input into me over the last 9-10 months that I never would have done before. I read a couple of books. I read Boundaries. My wife gave me a book, Boundaries, and it's really good. It shows exactly what I did wrong and how I was functioning and not functioning. It was absolutely good. I ordered a book and she told me about it called The Power of Love. Um, it's right up there. You can't see it, but it tells you about the power of love, how powerful it is, love. And love is God, And so I've been studying all this stuff, and and solitude has helped me to become a stronger person. I'm finally getting to where I got a little bit of a backbone. I'm finally getting to where I got a little bit of confidence. I'm finally getting to where my self-esteem has moved up a little bit because I felt like I was a has-been, washed up, no good, didn't have a future, no light at the end of the tunnel. No, the tunnel was all caved in. You know what I mean? And so I'm beginning to see myself change and grow, and I can see it in myself. And my counselor says she can say, "I've seen you grow so much." Well, I'm not tooting my own whistle. I'm just saying, I believe I am changing. I believe I have a different mindset, and so and I had to get rid of hate. I used to hate and have hard feelings toward people and talk bad about them. I talked bad about Denise's family, a lot of them, and I apologize to y'all if it ever got back to you guys. I'm sorry. I want to make it up to y'all, but I'm not really supposed to contact anybody while this is going on and be a conflict of interest. But But I did. I had some bad feelings, and I had hard feelings against my own brother Jeff. It's a fact he did some terrible things against my dad, against me, and against my sister. And then he got in a terrible car wreck and he was killed back in like a year ago or whatever. And so he he's gone. But I had hard feelings about the stuff he'd done to me and my sister and my dad, and and I had to let that go. You know, he's in heaven or whatever, and I was sitting there one day. I knew I had to let all this stuff go because you got to let hatred go. You can't have hostility and hard feelings. It's going to tear your ass up. I'm sorry for saying that, but it is. So I had to get rid of it. And no, he's passed away. So here in the house, I think I was in the kitchen or in the dining room. There's a little breakfast area where we got a stove and a chair. And anyway, I think I was in. That's my meditation area, and I was just talking to God. And I stood up and I looked up at heaven and I said, Jeff, I'm sorry for the hard feelings I've had towards you. I know it ain't right to have hard feelings no matter what went on. And so I ask you to forgive me and let it go. And that's what I did. And so I've released all that. I don't hate anybody. I may get mad at somebody, but if I catch myself, I'm going to say, you know what? I don't know what they're going through. I don't really know why they're that way they are. And so, or what's driving them, or how are they hurting to treat me like that? So I just have to back up and catch myself, and hate's gone. You need to let hate go. You got some hard feelings, and I'm sure you do. You need to let it go. Just reach out. If they're dead, reach out to them dead. But get it off of you, because it's going to just make you sick. It'll make you physically sick to hate somebody so bad. So I encourage you to let God help you to get rid of that, and I did. Anybody else, I just had to let it go. And then, but I'm growing. I'm trying to grow. I want to grow, and I'm reaching out to God. I talk to God all day long. I talk to God at night. I wake up and I talk to God. I watch God's stuff. Videos. It's all about the Word of God and the presence of God and the relationships, a great relationship to God, but not in a religious way. Me, my wife and I, we've been a Christian for 20 something years, and went in churches and in leadership. And the religiousness that's in churches will kill you. I believe what we tried to be was Christian, but we became too religious. It destroyed our kids' relationships with us, and they don't want nothing to do with God. So if you let religion get in there and kill you, you need to let it go, because you need to have a relationship with God and Jesus, but you don't need to let religion come in there. You need to blow religion up and get it out. This box, when you're doing stuff religiously, you're in a box, and you're just as bad as me running around in a little rat trail. So I just had to say that. Don't let religion control you. Have a relationship with Jesus and have a relationship with God. And it's just like a relationship with your daddy. It's supposed to be good and encouraging and uplifting. And so it shouldn't be binding you, putting you in a box and controlling you like a drudgery. The first red flag is if it's something you do that you think is Christianese and it's a drudgery, you better recheck it. That's a red flag. And so I'm just saying, I'm reaching out to God for help and direction, but not religiously. I know God loves me, and I know He has a great plan for me, and that's how I'm going to approach it. And that's how you need to approach it. And so, I miss my wife. I love her. I didn't treat her right. She tried to tell me, but I know that I didn't treat her right, and I'm saddened at my behavior. I'm very repentant. I say it all the time, and I used to tell her I'm sorry 50 times. She said, "Don't say you're sorry no more. I feel you're sorry. Unfortunately, you can't go back." So I'm saddened at my own behavior. I want to make it right to everybody that I've wronged. I don't have the opportunity yet, but I hope to have the opportunity with my family. And if not, I'll just do right things toward other people. But I hope to have an opportunity in the future to make it right with my wife and my two sons. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I hope it does. And the Word says it's never too late. I love Habakkuk 2:3. I think I read earlier, but Habakkuk 2:3 says, "But these things I plan won't happen right away. Slowly, steadily, surely the time approaches when the vision will be fulfilled. If it seems slow, do not despair, for these things will surely come to pass. Just be patient. They will not be overdue a single day." That means that it's never too late. God has a plan for me and for you, and it's not too late. No matter when you start, it's not too late. You need to start now, trying to redirect your life. And so I'm pushing forward. I'm going forward. I'm I'm headstrong. I want to get through this, and I want to be a better person. And this valley that I'm in, this obstacle that I'm in, this trial I'm in, it'll end soon. And I will get to the other side, and you will get to the other side. If you persevere, you will get to the other side. You will be able to get through this. It's coming. God's going to see me through, and He's going to see you through. I'm not through it yet, but He's there to do it. And when I get through this, when we get through to the other side, we should be stronger because, like the Stoics say, a trial is just an opportunity for growth. You should grow to a certain percent from a trial, from something you go through. You should grow and and uh, and be stronger. And I'm looking for the opportunity to do the right thing with somebody, some people. You know, I did the wrong thing so long that, and I've trained and trained. I want to do the right thing with my wife, with my sons, and if I offended any relatives or uncles or aunts or cousins or whatever, I want to do the right thing. I want to make it right, and I just want to do that, and I want to. So that's the main thing. I never used to want to do anything right, really. And so for you, you need to examine how you process your love language. You need to look at yourself. Are you putting anything before your wife and your family? Are you putting stuff in between there that shouldn't be there? Are people giving you hints? Like my wife was always telling me, you really should be careful here. You should watch out there. You're not, they could, are people giving you hints? Are you to the point where you're overlooking all of it? Do you're like me? You just can't see a red flag. You can't take a hint. You know, are people telling you that some of your actions and some of your attitudes are not really correct? They're kind of skewed. Are you got some box issues here? Have you got a paradigm from when you was a kid that's driving you in the wrong direction, and you're getting these people that's especially your spouse that's saying, "Hey, wait a minute, look, what's going on here?" If you're getting all this, fix it. Fix it now. Don't end up in the like where I am. Fix it now while you're still in your marriage. Get busy. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up like the song. Wake up. I didn't know I was lost. Um, and here's the deal. This is where I really messed up. If you're not in love with your wife with your actions, I'm talking about with your words. If you're not in love with your wife with your actions and your words, fix it. You can tell that she's not fulfilled or she's emotionally lacking from you. You can tell. And so if you're not in love with your wife with your words and your actions, fix it. And the same thing applies to your kids. If you're not treating your kids with the love and that you should and your attention, and or when they walk up to you, are you too busy? Or I got to work on that. You're too busy for them. Is that happen? So if whatever's happened, put your family first. Put your wife first. Put your kids first. Don't end up like me. And if you do end up like me, it's not over. I want you to understand that this is not a Gloomy Tunes message. It's just that we have to address some issues, and they are real. And to get to the other side of an issue, you have to confront it. So confront that you're not doing these things right. Confront it, and then let's look for a solution through God and through some help and through some support, and get to the other side. You need to really be aware of what's going on. I'm talking about seriously. You need to be aware, and I know that I have only myself to blame for my unwillingness to change. I was not willing to change. My wife was trying to get me to change and to do some things, but I wasn't. I am now. This thing has been stripped off of me. This paradigm has been blown up and destroyed mostly. I'm not in a box anymore, much of one anyway. I want to. I am changed, and I am growing, and I have the desire to change. Most people you talk to, they don't want to change, but I want to grow. I want to change. I want to be strong. Um, I want to change to be the man and to have a heart like I should have. It's like in that movie, The Grinch, with Jim Carrey. He was just a hard, mean old Grinch, and he didn't do anything good for anybody. But this little girl, she started loving on him. Her name was Lucy, I think Lucy Lou. Maybe I may have it wrong, but she started loving on him. He'd do something bad to her. She'd love on him. He'd do something bad to her. She'd love on him. He'd do something bad to her. She'd love him. And whole during the movie, she was trying to love on him, and he was trying to reject her and do it. And the last thing he did was so mean and so awful and so cruel, and she still loved him. She still loved him, even though he did cruel stuff to her. And finally, he's sitting on this mountain, and he's thinking about, I just did this awful thing to her, and she still loves me. She still loves me. And so his heart, he thought about it, and he got to the point, his heart was like this little. And all of a sudden, he just got a revelation. She loves me. And you know what? I think I want to love her back. And his heart just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew till his heart was like this big. That's how I feel. I didn't have no heart. But now I feel like I've got a big heart that I can share with people and do good things. That's how I feel now. Um, I never used to have an aspiration to do anything or to be any better. I just wanted to be in this box. That's all I wanted. I didn't want a better job. I didn't want a better career. I hate my job. I didn't like it. It's not fun. It's just something I go to, and my wife would tell me all the time, "Don't you get a better job, something you enjoy?" And I'd go, "Oh, and so, but now I want to be the best man that I can be. I would like the opportunity to be the best husband that I can be. I would like the opportunity to be the best father that I can be. But I don't know if I'll ever get that opportunity. But I want to grow, and I have a desire to grow. I have a desire to change. In the past, I was not open to change. I was not open to change. I was not open to. I was not open to any kind of change. I didn't want it. I wanted to be just the same old thing I was. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't. I couldn't get there. And one of the times I was talking to my wife. I always talk to her and try. Oh, please come back, come back. I'll do anything, and I'll change. I've already changed, and and she'd always say, well, if I come back, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. She'd say, you don't know who you are. You don't even know who you are yet. If I come back, you'll just be playing the same old record, except you just sound a little better. And she said, you don't know who you are. And so she's right. I didn't know who I was. And so I had to try to figure out who I was. But to figure out who I was, I really had to figure out who God was. And I want to worship for just a few minutes. I know you guys may have never worshiped. I don't know, but I want to worship this with you just a couple of minutes. And let's just see where this goes. And this is called Waymaker. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. Psalm says that when you worship, that it brings the angels near. So angels are coming around us right now. You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Remember, he's a light in the darkness. Remember that. My God, that is who you are. You are Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here. He's here. He's here, and he's a waymaker. He's a promise keeper. He's the light in the darkness, a miracle worker. And that's who he is. And to discover who you are, you've got to know who he is first. And so you know he's all those things. He's the waymaker, the promise keeper, and all that, and the light in the darkness, a miracle worker. And that's who he is. And he lives inside of you. Even if you don't know it, he's inside of you. And he is there. And so he's a waymaker. He's inside of you. That makes you a child of God. Yes, it makes you a child of God. And you need to say it. You need to figure out, I am a child of God. I had to figure out who I was, and at least I can start, and I can know that I know who he is. He's a waymaker. We need a waymaker. And so I'm a child of God. I am the head, not the tail. I'm above, not below. I am a child of God. I'm the righteousness of God in Christ. I'm an heir to the throne. I am a child of God. I'm the descendant of Abraham. I am a child of God. You need to know and believe that you are a child of God. You see, my wife said I didn't grow up, and I didn't. But sometimes you've got to see who God is, know who he is first, so you can know who you are. And that's where this comes in. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Remember, worship brings angels near. They're all around us right now. That is who you are. That is who you are. That's who he is. He's a waymaker. That is who you are. 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 Yeah, that's who he is. So remember that. He's a waymaker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper, a light in the darkness. And so my wife said, I didn't know who I was, and she was so right. But since she left, I've been trying to figure out who I am. And at least I know, the part I do know is I know that I'm a child of God. And if you don't know you're a child of God, figure it out. You don't find out who God is, because God created you, and he's inside of you. And then find out who you are. At least you know you're a child of God. And as a child of God, you're an heir to the throne. You're above, not below. You're the head, not the tail. You are the righteousness of God in Christ. At least you know that. You may not know, like me, what your career is going to be. You may not know where I'm going to be in January or February or March in a career or a path, or who I'm going to be friends with or in a relationship with, but at least you know that. And so, and remember, the Psalms, I got it rolled in the refrigerator, Psalms talks about when you worship, angels, it draws angels near. You need them around you, because they're the people they're the ones that protect you in ways you don't even know. And so that's cool. Now I want to talk about a few minutes about my wife. I want to lift her up. Proverbs 18:22 says, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. If you got a wife, it's a good thing. God brings a wife to you, and she is a good thing. Matthew 7:6 talks about precious pearls. My wife has always been a precious pearl. She's always had something to give to other people. It's a shame that I messed it up, and I didn't treat her right. But she's always been that kind of person. She's always tried to help everybody, all of our family members. She tried to help everybody. She's always done good and sacrificed. She sacrificed for our sons. She had a school out back a couple of times, two sets of years, a home school for kids that just didn't make it in public school. Public school is brutal, and if you're not one of those kids that just catches on to everything, then you get lost and they leave you by the wayside. And so she had a little homeschool for kids, had about 8 or 10 kids in there. They were just the ones that needed the extra help for free. And she homeschooled them, and the parents loved her. And she shaped those people's lives, those kids' lives, to where they're all productive human beings now. But she gave of herself free of charge and just poured her heart into those kids. And that's what she's tried to do with me and our kids. But she tried to help us. She tried to help her sisters and brothers and cousins and she tried to help lots of people in the family, and the family kind of didn't treat her right. You know what I mean? Mark 6:4-5 says, and this is Jesus. He said, Jesus told him, a prophet is honored everywhere except in his hometown and among his relatives and by his own family. He's honored everywhere but by his own family. Isn't that sad? And it's because of their unbelief he couldn't do any mighty miracles among them, except to place a hands on a few people to heal them for sick. Because some people of the family did respond. But she tried to help her family, and they just kind of, every time she ever, including me, including my sons, they tried to help her sisters and brothers and cousins and all these people, and they just rejected her and just almost spit on her and turned her back on her, and it hurt her, you know. And so so I want you to know, this is to you. I'm kudos to you, Denise, because you had the balls to stand up and try to help somebody, knowing they needed help. And when nobody else would step up, even though you didn't get rewarded for it in your family, I want you to know it was a good thing you did. Jesus tried to do the same thing, and he was just as unsuccessful. But it doesn't matter if you were unsuccessful. What matters is you tried. And most people don't have the guts to do anything to help somebody. They just watch them fall. And so I thank you for doing that. You need to be lifted up because of that. And if nobody ever did, I want you to know it. And so, but she tried to help me too, and I just wouldn't accept it. She tried to help our sons; they wouldn't accept it. So in the family way, not many people responded, but she did have a couple of lights in the darkness with family, and I want to shout out to you, Greg. She got a brother, Greg, who lives in the Dallas area, and Liz, and Greg is a brother that's never left her. He's always loved her, no matter what. And Greg, thank you, kudos to you, and Jeannie. Jenny is Denise's sister-in-law that lives in Florida, and she has always been a great friend. A great friend, no matter what was happening. She didn't desert her. Greg didn't desert her. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it. You don't know, even though we're separated, it matters. I still care about what happens to her, and so I'm glad she's got y'all too, because you guys were with her and still with her and didn't leave her or forsake her. So, I appreciate that. And so I'm just lifting her up. Oh, and I want to do something here. I don't know if I can do it where you can see it, but I'm going to try. There's a plaque. I'm in the living room, and she's got a plaque over the fireplace, and I'm going to try to move this camera where y'all can see it, and then I'll move it back. But this thing says, everybody deserves somebody who makes them look forward to tomorrow. She put that up there. She put that up there because she wanted a reminder of something that she was desiring to have, and that she wanted to have that from me, but and she wanted that from her kids, but it never happened, and so she wanted that, and so she put it up there, and maybe I think she was hoping that it would affect me and let me be that it would affect me, and that I would change, and I would become that person who makes them look forward to tomorrow. I never did. And so I want you to know, ladies, spouses, that if I had enough information and hints to change, and I didn't. But Denise, you tried, and I appreciate it. And I want you ladies to know out there, you husbands and spouses, if you've got somebody that's trying to get you to see the light, to wake you up, listen to them. Fix it now. You need to fix it, because you don't need to be where I am. I mean, I'm going to be all right. I want you to know I'm going to be all right. I am, and you are. We're stronger than we think, but you need to be aware. Change it before it's too late. Change it before you get to where I am. You'll be a lot better person. You'll be a lot better, So anyway, and she had a brother, Ricky, older brother, Ricky. He always took care of her. He always took care of her. Always. And she would get in trouble all through her life when she was 16, 18, 19, 20. She'd go live somewhere, and then she had to get out of her apartment at midnight or something, and she waited till the last minute, and she'd call Ricky, and he'd go get his truck and his trailer, and he'd go rescue her, and he passed away. It was so sad. that she was trying to help him be a Christian, worried about his eternal salvation, and her sisters all turned against her, and they didn't leave him alone, just let him die. They just treated her bad when her heart was trying to make sure his salvation was secure. And so she wasn't even welcome to go to his funeral, and so it was really rough. And if it hurt somebody's feelings, so what? You know what? You did wrong. You did Denise wrong, and so what? But I'm saying God was not happy with that. I don't know, but I know this: your heart was in the right place. But when Ricky passed away, your daddy figure, the one that would always go and take care of you, he's gone, and he's not there anymore. And so I want you to know, and for you ladies out there, and for anybody that if you need help, I don't care what relationship status we are. If you need something, I want you to know this: I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman's got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. I'm only one call away. Amen. Well, I just wanted to do that. I know it was kind of corny and maybe you thought it was goofy, but I appreciate it. You trying, Denise. You did a good job. Kudos to you. Now, moving on. I right now am praying for God to help me with all the pain and all the worries of losing my family and give me peace. I don't know how it's all going to work out. All I know is that I have scriptures to support that it's going to be okay. Let me read Joel 2:25. It says, "So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust." They had a lot of locusts back then that chewed stuff up and they devoured it. Now, that represents I lost my family. I lost my sons. I lost my wife. I lost. It wasn't good. And so, but Joel says that he can restore what you've lost, what's been eaten, what you lost, what's been stolen. However you want to phrase it, God can. God is a restorer. He's a waymaker. And in James 1 says, "Consider it pure joy, brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance or growth." James 1 says that trial, and the Stoics say that these are opportunities for growth. These are trials, but you're going to grow. You're going to be better after the trial. I'm going to be a better person. I already am a better person. I already am growing. You're growing too. If you're going through a trial, you're going to be in a better place. You're going to be strong enough to help somebody else go through what you're going through or something similar. Hang in there. And Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." God is working out everything for good. He has good plans for me and you. He's got good plans for me. It's not over. He's got good plans for me. And good plans for you. And I know that now. And I'm trying to keep that in the forefront of my mind, but he does. And so I want you to examine your heart. Are you all messed up like me, living in a box? Running a paradigm that's going nowhere? On a treadmill, you ain't getting no closer to your goal than when you started. Are you doing all these things? Fix it. Examine yourself. Look in the mirror. Like Michael Jackson, man in the mirror. Change. And before it's too late, don't end up where I am. That's not too late if I am where I'm at. But it's better if you can catch it way back there. It's like catching cancer way when it's just not even cancer yet, but it's a node. You get in there early, and you don't have to go through a divorce like me. You can salvage what's there now. And so before it's too late, you need to remember that I didn't remember this. It wasn't my prime directive that family is the most important thing. Family is the most important thing. There is nothing more important than family. You need to understand that if you're not treating if you're not putting your family first, your wife first, if you're not cherishing your wife, if you're not cherishing your kids, you need to do that. you need to do what I didn't do. You need to go when, you know, you need to understand how your spouse needs things. And, when she's sitting on the couch or in a chair and she's hurting and crying for some reason and you don't know what the reason, you don't know what's going on, you need to go over there and you need to get on your knees and you need to take her hands and you look in her eyes and you need to say, "What's wrong, babe? What's wrong?" And she might tell you, she might not. She may not even be want to tell you because she's so deep in this thing. But look in her eyes, touch her hands, gaze at her with intent that you care, and let your heart connect with her heart, and let her know that you care about it. There's Jeffrey talks about your mannerisms, your touch. You can tell by touching somebody if they care about you or not. You can tell by just doing that. When you touch them, you know that they care about you, or they don't, or they're just faking it. You know. And so do that. Go grab her, take her hands, and say, "Look, man, I don't know what's going on, but I know it's going to be all right." And just hug her and let her know you love her. And whatever it takes to do, you do it. And so don't do like I did and do nothing. Do that. She needs it and you need it, and you'll be a better person. Get out of this box of coldness and you don't even know who you are. Get out of that and do the right thing. Now, I know y'all think I'm crazy, but I want to lift up my wife again because we were together a long time, and it was so hard for her she built this house. This is a dream house. It really is. It's beautiful. She did everything here. It was so hard the day that she left here. The only reason um, she would not. It has to be something terrific to leave a beautiful that she decorated. And me and her built this house hand by hand, decorating wise. It was a shell, but we remodeled it into what it is, and it's beautiful. And you know how hard it was for her to walk away from this and go live in a room, and that's all she took was her clothes. You know how hard that was. That was hard, and I'm the reason she had to do all that. I put nothing was working out. You know, her sisters, her brothers, her sisters, and her cousins, and her sons, and me, and her brother died, and they didn't. All her family didn't treat her right, and it's just like the world was coming against her. Everything back here, East Texas, where she's from, I love her, but I wasn't treating her like I love her. So she was all precious. Why stay here? Why stay here? Why she had to leave, and so it was hard for her to do that. So that's why I keep lifting her up. I want you to know I'm the bad guy, and you guys out there, if you're the bad guy, you need to back up. You need to punt, and you need to get on your knees, and you need to do something different. But that's why I'm pounding that in the ground because it's important, and I didn't do it. But she's got this new thing going on. She is she's she's got a she's got a vision board. I had a vision board here, and I looked at it, and it was cool and all. It had fashion in New York and I don't know, all kinds of just and a little beautiful car convertible. She was in it, and it was all beautiful. Vision board. It was big and nice, and she decorated it up good. It was bedazzled, and I looked at it, and oh yeah, that's okay. I didn't jump up and down for joy and say, this is obtainable. I didn't. I didn't say nothing. I just kind of looked around and uh, I didn't really comment on that the way I should have. And so, but one thing on there that never dawned on me, but when she showed it to her brother, Greg, the one that's never left or forsake her, and she goes, "Oh, it's a beautiful vision board," but she goes, "Where's Vic?" And you know what? Vic was not on the vision board. Now that really ain't funny, but I wasn't on there. I wasn't on there, and it never died. It was in this house for months before she ever left, and I didn't wake me up when it's all over. I didn't know that I was lost. I didn't notice it. Ain't that stupid? Don't you guys? Are you that stupid? Well, wake up. But I'm telling you, but she's got this new career. She's doing good. She's got a nice lady she lives with, and she's trying to reshape her life and become an entrepreneur, and she's writing a book, and I think she just about got it published, and she's got this. We're wearing these Life Wave patches. They're healing from the inside through crystals and vibrations and all kinds. I don't understand it, but this is one of the patches here. It's called Life Wave. So if you ever want to get healthy and doctors can't help you, you might check this out. It's pretty cool. It's not cheap, but it works. So anyway, but she's got that going on, and she's just got this happy career type thing going on, and it's pretty cool. And I commend you, Denise, for doing that, even in the midst of having to leave me to be free to get away from this box. Because let me tell you about this box. I'm in the box, and you're married to me. Well, here you are. Here's the wife. You're married to me. But you try to get away, but you can't get away because gravity of being married pulls you back to the box, and you can't get out. You can't get away. You go, I'm trying to get away, but it's like Superman and Kryptonite. You can't get away. The only way to get away is to break loose and separate. And so that's what she had to do, and it was very hard. And I commend you for doing that. And I don't want you people to think I'm goofy because you need to know who's the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the one that didn't step up to the plate. I realize it. I know it. And I'm not going to beat myself up forever, but I just want you to know that I'm owning it. And then I want you guys out there, if you're not doing what you should do, you need to fix it, because your marriage is important. Your wife is important. Your kids are important. You probably got time, not like me, but on that way anyway. And so she's got this whole scenario going on. Beautiful world, loves new world, brand new career, brand new thing. And her theme song is from a 1971 show called The Mary Tyler Moore Show. And this lady, she's single. She's got a new career, brand new radio or TV or something. I don't know. Anyway, but this is the song she sings, and it uplifts her, and it keeps her going. It keeps her driving to stay focused on getting her career going and becoming the woman she should have been a long time ago, but was held back by a man in a box, me. In fact, you guys, you need to get this box away. But anyway, here it is. It's called the Merritt Tyler Moore Show theme song. Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement, you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have the town, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. Da, 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 da. And she's out there in the cold with a hat in front of this magnificent building with pillars and steps, and it's cold, and with people all around her, she's smiling, she throws her hat up like, hey, the world is mine. And that's how Denise feels now, away from here, free from the box. And I wish I could fix it, but I can't. But thank God you're free, and I salute you for doing what you should have done a long time ago, and you freed me in the process to where I can change. Thank you very much. And for all you guys out there, if you better hope your wife ain't got to leave you to change you. You need to change now. But she's doing good, and I thank God that you have an opportunity to do it now. Now, I'm going to close now. I want to make a statement that I'm going to be all right. You know, it seems kind of gloomy, and I could tear up and do all this stuff, but it's not bad. It's getting better. And I know that the scriptures support that it's going to be all right. You can get through a trial, and you can get over the hump, and you can get over the hill, and you can be good. And but God saves the best for last. I've already read Habakkuk 2:3, but let me read it again. It says, now this scripture, Habakkuk 2:3, it's been printed up and hanging on a little corkboard I got in the dining room there for 20-something years. I don't know why I printed it out, but it made an impact on my life. And I printed it out and I put it up there, and I guess it meant because it was going to come to pass. It was going to take forever for me to get my crap together and get delivered. I didn't know it was going to mean my marriage was going to end, but still, it says, but these things I plan won't happen right away. Slowly, steadily, surely the time approaches when the vision will be fulfilled. If it seems slow, 20-something years, 66 years old, do not despair, for these things will surely come to pass. Just be patient. They will not be overdue a single day. They will not be patient. And they will not be overdue a single day. And Joel 2 says, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust is eaten and all the locust is eaten. So sometimes God saves the best for last. And I'm 66. If I live to be 99, I got the last third of my life coming. And it's supposed to be great. That's what the Word says. If I'm going to rely on the Word, I'm going to have a relationship with God, I'm going to believe what the Word says. Now, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know that God saves the best for last. How about the number one scripture or parable that comes is Jesus was at this wedding, and they'd had the wedding, and I think they have a wedding for, like 7 days in Jesus' time. That's a whole lot of drinking for 7 days, ain't it? I mean, that's a lot of drinking. You know how much that costs? But anyway, so I think it was on the last day they ran out of wine, and Jesus' mom said, just do what he says. He told the servants, so he told her to go fill up some pots of water, and he turned them into wine. And then the big king, the guy that was the main guest of the marriage ceremony there, he tasted the wine, and he told Jesus, you done saved the best for last. Or he told the host, the best for last. So see, it was toward the end of the ceremony when God did the miracle. And so look at Joseph. Look what he had to go through before he ever got to be second in command of the kingdom. He had to go to throw in a pit. His brothers sold him, and they abused him, and they sold him to slavery, and he went to jail, and he went to prison, and he had to do all this other stuff before he ever got second in command. You know what happened? His brothers that threw him in the pit, they had to bow down to him to get food so they could make it from the famine that was coming that he saved all the kingdom from. So, but that was only toward the end of his career. Look at Moses. Moses lived in Egypt for a while, like 38 years or whatever. Then he had to go in the 40 years. He had to go live in the desert to become the man he should have been, and he lived to be 120. So the last third of his life was when he got to do the big stuff. That was when he did the great things in the end, toward the end. And so sometimes God saves the best for last, and I'm looking forward to this being. But look at Abraham. Abraham had to wait till he's 90-something years old to have a son. And you go, well, man, he's fixing to die any minute. Not really. Because when he did have Isaac, I think it was, and he had a bunch of other kids too. But he could have said, well, my life's over. But God works it out where this restoring thing that's in the scripture, he makes it work out to where it doesn't seem like you lost anything. He doesn't. When you get your stuff back, when he gets you to the point that you're whole, he makes it seem like you didn't lose anything because you're so. You remember the Stoics say, live in the moment. It's so fulfilled right now. Your heart is full. Your life is full, and Abraham lived to be 175, so he got to enjoy his kids. You know what I mean? His life wasn't over when he turned 100. So it's just remember that it's not over just because. Look at David. David had to go through all kind of stuff before he ever became king. Man, he had to do all this and be abused and hide in caves. And man, he had to do all kind of stuff before he ever got to be king. So a lot of times it's toward the end before you get the fulfillment of your thing that you need to do. And that's okay. I mean, a lot of times it's because we messed up, like me. I've been living in this box for 66 years, and I screwed up a lot. And thank God, God is, as I said in a previous video, God is a God of 1,000,000 chances. I'm on 795,000 right now chances that I've screwed up. So it's not over. It's going to be okay. God's got this. You just have to trust to know that He's got good plans for you. And if you let Him lead you instead of you doing your box thing and not let Him lead, then it's a lot better. It's going to be a lot better for you. And you just have to hold on. You have to believe, and you have to know that that it's going to be all right. And here's the deal: that if you're feeling low and you feel like, well, how do I do all that? I don't see no bright future for me. Here's the deal. When I first got going through all this, when my wife left me, there was no light, no tunnel, I couldn't see no light. There was nothing. I just saw bleakness, washed upness, all that into my life. But now, this is December, and she left in February. And I've been watching a lot of God's scriptures and doing all this stuff, and it's been a hell of a ride. But I can see a light now at the end of the tunnel. I now can see a light at the end of the tunnel because God is a way maker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper, a light in the darkness. He's got a light at the tunnel, and I can see it. I can see a light. The tunnel's clear. There's a light at the end of it, and I can see it. And so I couldn't see that before. So now for you, you people out there, if you hold on and you persevere and you study and you get on your knees and you humble yourself, you can get to the point where you can get past this and you can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And and I just know you can. And and every several times when I talk to my wife on the phone and I try to get her to come back, and I just say, well, just don't write me off. Just don't write me off yet. Just don't write me off yet. And don't write yourself off. There's a cute little movie called Music and Lyrics with, I think it's Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore. Well, anyway, he's a singer, and he messed up big time. And she was his girlfriend or whatever, and he messed up and made her mad, and it was bad. And he had a concert, and he had some good friends that drug her there because she was mad at him. But he stopped the concert, and he had wrote a song just for her to get her back, and it was called "Don't Write Me Off Just Yet." And he performed it right there at the piano in this big Coliseum arena, whatever it was, with the concert. And she was headed out. They drug her there, but she was headed up the stairs to leave. And he started singing that song, and he was looking at her. And she stopped, and she turned around, and she listened to that song, and it was from his heart. And they got back together, and it was really nice. It was a fairy tale Hallmark moment, you know what I mean? But my point in all that is, you can do something. I may not get my wife back, but you can do something in your life where you can overcome that feeling of everybody has written me off. That's the way I felt, that I was written off and that I didn't have a future, but I do, and you do, and it's going to be all right. So I want you to understand that the scriptures support it, and I just have a good feeling about next year. I don't know how to I don't know how else to say it, but I want to pray for you guys and I'll release. And this has been good. I appreciate it. Lord Jesus, thank you for this time that we have together. Thank you that I can bear my heart. And this has been a tough one, God. This has been a very intense thing to say to get through this journey that I've been on this year. But it's not just about me. It's about you and all the people that need help. And so, God, I pray that everybody that has been able to hear this will be changed at some point for the good. And I just pray for everyone that's hurting, God, that are running these paradigms that are just tearing them apart, God. I just pray right now, Jesus, that you take your healing hands and you take the hatred, the hostility, the hard feelings, the pride and the arrogance, and you take it from our hearts, God, and move it away from us as far as the east is from the west. And let us not suffer from that anymore, and let us love and live like we should have always lived. And God, I pray that you take your hands and you put it on our hearts, and that you heal our hearts of all the pain, the hurt, and the damage and the baggage that's been put there since childhood from many different sources, many different people. A lot of them I put there. And I pray, God, you heal their hearts of all that so that they can live and love and breathe, God, and love like we're supposed. You created us to be loving beings, to love and to give love and to receive love, and that's how we were created. So, God, I just pray you heal us enough to where we can do that again. And I thank you again for all that I have. You have blessed me intensely, and I thank you so much for it. I thank you for everyone listening. I pray that everyone is blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you guys for listening to me. I bared my heart. It's been tough. I don't say this was an easy one, but I need you to understand that you need to suck it up. You need to get your act together, because you don't want to be where I am. Although I'm going to be all right, I'd rather have my wife back and my sons back, but you don't always get what you want the way you want it. God has great plans, and I know he's got great plans for me, and I don't know what they are, but I know that they're great. And I've got several ideas for some more videos. So this is not the end for me. And I have a lot of things that are in my heart that God is putting on me to put out. And I don't know what they are, all of them yet, but I know this. I know that he's got me doing something. I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do as far as career, but I ain't in here anymore. and you need to get out of there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave this open so so that it symbolically represents that you guys are getting free, I'm getting free, and we're gonna move to a better situation in the future. You know, God loves you. He loves you so much. He wants you to prosper and to be of good health and a good mindset and to have your heart free and not be bound up in a bunch of stuff and not be religious. He wants you to be the best you can be. The Stoics say you need to be the best you can be. You can be. And you can if you get the stuff out of the way and you get a good biblical substance behind you. And you do it, and it's gonna be all right. I'm fixing to go. You guys stick around for the credits. I got something special in there. You probably think I'm corny and goofy, but let's watch it if you would. I believe it will. Enhance your life. I believe you'll be encouraged even a little more. So you guys be uplifted. You be of good cheer. It's gonna be all right, and you just wait. There's some updates coming in the future for next year that might surprise you. God is a God of, He's a great God. You know, like the song says, He's a way maker. And if there's a way to do it, God can figure it out. He's going to part the Red Sea for you. You just wait and see. It's not a maybe. It's fixing. It's going to happen. He's got His angels everywhere. Just remember when you worship draws the angels near. You never know when you need an angel. Angels might be picking that nail up out of the road when you're driving, when your wife is driving home, and that would have caused her a flat. They do all kinds of stuff like that. So worship, draw them near, and let them take care of you. God is a way maker, and He's making a way. I can't even describe how I feel like He's making a way. It's gonna be all right. So I'm gonna go for now. This is it's Saturday. Carthage, Texas. Vic Merritt here. I've really had a good time, and I really thank you for tuning in. And I don't have the right music, but we got a new president, so let's do the trump. All right, well, you guys have a great day. God loves you, and I love you, and I'll see you next time. Won't be long, okay? All right, bye-bye.
Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have the